So what's up with this fallback key here? The fallback key can help you if you have a lot of pages that would need to be pre-generated. Here I only have 3 dummy products, and I'm currently not even fetching that data from that file. We'll do that later. But we only have 3 products. Now imagine that you have like an Amazon-like website with millions of products. Of course, pre-generating all those products like this might not be optimal. Not just because I hard-coded this here. We could fetch this dynamically from this file, so that's not the problem, but simply because pre-generating all those millions of pages might take super long. And there might be products, let's say you're not Amazon, which are rarely visited. If you're building a blog and you have hundreds of articles, you might have some articles which are basically never read. So then pre-generating such rarely visited pages is a waste of time and resources. That's where fallback becomes important. Here, we can set this to true, and then, for example, we could decide to only pre-render some pages. So let's say we want to pre-render the page with product ID 1, so with P1, because that's a highly frequented page, it's visited very often, but we don't want to pre-generate the other 2 pages. With fallback set to true, that's possible. Because now if I save this, you will notice that if I go back to the starting page, if I click on product 3, we still load this page successfully, even though it was not added here to paths. And the reason for that is that with fallback true, we tell Next.js that even pages which are not listed here, so even parameter values for the PID parameter which are not listed here, can be valid values that should be loaded when they are visited. But they're not pre-generated, instead they're generated just in time when a request reaches the server. And that allows us to pre-generate highly visited pages and postpone the generation to less frequented pages to the server, so that they are only pre-generated when they're needed. So that can be a very useful behavior. But you'll notice a problem here. If I don't click on a link here, but instead I directly enter this in the URL and therefore send a new request to this page, we actually get an error. Cannot read property title of undefined. The reason for that is that this pre-generation, this dynamic pre-generation when it's needed, does not finish instantly. So therefore, instead, when using this fallback feature, you should be prepared to return a fallback state in your component. For example, by simply checking if loaded product is maybe not a thing with if not, and then returning something like loading here. And if you do this and you add this to your component function and you save everything, if you now reload this page, you see loading briefly, and then Next.js will automatically give you that data once it's done loading. So this is a little bit like the standard React solution with useEffect and setState, except for that you don't need to do any of that. You just get something through props, you check if it's there yet, and if it's not, you show that fallback content. And once it's there, Next.js will automatically update this component page for you and then return the regular content here. So with that, you see that now I can also reload this page and we still load this successfully eventually because of that fallback feature. An alternative would be that you don't set fallback to true or false, but to a string with a value of blocking. If you do that, then you don't even need that fallback check here in the component, and hence we can comment this out, because then Next.js will actually wait for this page to fully be pre-generated on the server before it serves that. So then it will take a little bit longer for the visitor of the page to get a response, but the response which is sent back will be finished. So if I now reload, that still works, it just takes a bit longer. And again, it's up to you which approach you need for your application. Sometimes it's important to show something quickly, especially if you know that generating the page and fetching the data might take a bit longer. Sometimes it's worth to wait for it and you don't want to show an incomplete page to your visitors. In such a case, blocking can be better. Here you saw both, and as you see, both is super easy to use.